Okay, so here we are, and so the first project that I do in my painting classes is we just jump right into collage, and it's just a way to get people out of their heads about painting. Most beginner painters have only ever just put paint onto a piece. And so what we do is we just jump right into collaging something without any design work, because the project is we're stepping into black and white. So here's white, but it's got some black on it. And then over time we start turning them into, we learn about the compositional tool called the rule of thirds. So you can see the rule of thirds is right in here, it's buried. Which I will talk about. So we jump right into composition, like right off the bat, so that this compositional tool is in all of our pieces. And once we kind of get to this, we let them sit, and because we're gonna paint them like half black, half white, or use paper collage stuff. And then we come back to these, which I'll show you in a moment. The next part of the project then is to experiment and explore. So we're splattering, we're scraping, we're using the back of our paintbrush to get these lines. It's really about like, what's it like when most beginning artists put paint on, but they don't know about taking paint off. So this is called a reductionist, where you reduce, you take paint off, you sand it off, it's wet, you use paper towels, we paint with our fingers, we learn how to splatter. And that then turns into this next project set. So we do two of these experimental ones. One is I walk you through it, and then the other one is you're on your own. So you're going to make two pieces, and then that steps us into values. And so this steps us into values. Where's my printed value piece? It goes into this. So we've got our values. So black and white. Then we go into a set of values, and we're going to work on mixing those. So these are steps that you can actually see, or a full gradation. And then that turns into these two pieces where we do an imaginary plant and animal. And we do it for a specific reason. But these are some of the examples, so that then you're actually mixing your values and you're putting those in here. And color is just putting color on top of values. You know, understanding how to get a medium blue or a dark green or a light yellow. So once we're over there, then we go back to this first project, which was this black and white, and we start to talk about glazing, and kind of it's a compass piece, and it's a primary color piece. So it's just one color. I'm sorry, it's a monochromatic, right? One color, monochromatic. And in that you've got dark reds, medium reds, and light reds. And so then after that we move into primary colors, right? The real primaries are cyan, magenta, and yellow. And so then we start looking at transferring images and working on values and forms, textures and patterns is out of this project. So there's our beginning of this color primaries. And then we step into our color wheel project, which we use these medicine cards. So hummingbird. So everybody picks a card, and then we do a color wheel piece that's about those, getting all the colors. So then you have 3 reds and 3 greens and 3 blues and 3 oranges and 3 yellows and 3 purples. From there, oops, I forgot to show sketchbooks. So sketchbooks is another part of this project of supplies. So sketchbooks are just, these are some of my sketchbooks, even with some of my kids' artwork in there. You take a sketchbook to dinner with you, and you give your kids something to do. So once this is half of the semester, the second half of the semester we move into 3D. So this is imagined, and this is real, we call it. So 1-point perspective, and then 2-point perspective. So this is the main piece we're moving into. 2 points is that there's one back there and there's one back there, right? So then you have below and above. This is how closer to that the real world works. So we geek out and paint around with some of that, and beginning to start looking at light, half shadow, full shadow. And then from there, we're going to move into dimensional objects, a sphere and a cube. So spheres are, you know, they have negative space. You have a light source. You have values. It's the same as the other piece that we're looking at, right? Each distinct layer of a value. That's how you turn a form. It goes into form shadow, and then reflected light and cast shadow. And then we turn that into some painting stuff. And then that turns into a cube, which we're looking at horizon lines, vanishing points. This alone is a key to understanding how the world works. It's pretty cool and simple. And then that can translate into a painting of both of those, right? Spheres and cubes. Because once you get this, then you can actually translate this into a lot of other stuff. And then over here, then we'll move into portraits, because it's the same, it's kind of a sphere, but it's got values on it. So you got a light source, an oval. There's I am with my beard. And then the last project that I don't have any examples of is we do a final project where you're painting on a found object, and you've got a variety of stuff to pick from. So we're going to be looking at anti-racism and social justice and virus, you know, COVID stuff in this class, because that's what's happening on the planet. So there you go. That's the pass of the beginning of school. So if you're interested in kind of following along, I'll try to post videos of what we're doing. Ciao.